Hey everyone, a new patch has hit Path of Exile and is intended to do two things: help with the loot situation and make the mechanic a little bit more palatable. So let's go over it and see if it hit the mark. So let's start by looking at the patch notes themselves and see what they actually changed. So, a couple of major things. There are new Foulborn uniques. Depending on what they actually are, I haven't seen most of the new ones, and this might open up even more build diversity. Build diversity is great right now. Not perfect, but pretty good. And these Foulborn uniques have been useful for that. So more is always good. They increase the amount of graft blood, and womb gifts you get from the Breach Hive encounters, which I have noticed that it was lower than expected. So this is good. It will help you to open more womb gifts, basically. Um, High fortresses grant up to 25% more graft blood in level 83 maps. I have done a couple of high fortresses since then, and it does feel like it is giving more. So that's nice. Um, Growing womb gifts are cheaper. That seems okay because I don't think most people were opening these. These are kind of like the last one you would open. Although there are some valuable um, grafts, these tend to be the last you open. Um, Increase the number of monster packs that spawn in each wave in regular breach hive encounters and maps. I did run a regular one, and it does feel better. Having more mobs means more loot, so it seems better to me. If you were already struggling with the amount of mobs, um, then this is gonna make it feel even worse. But most people weren't, and so in general, this is a good change. Um, Increase the breakable hive pack spawners by 40% in maps. I did notice this as well. There's more of the little pink nodes to run around and open. Um, Slightly increased the breach monster. I ran a couple of hives since then, and this I don't even notice. Um, slightly increased the number of skill objects in breach hive encounters in maps. I also didn't notice that really. Um, this is a good change, although it's not that big of a change because I don't know how often you fight the boss fight. But now it gives you graft blood. It always should have. It's weird that it didn't, but it does now, so that's good. Um, this is a big one. In Breach Hive encounters, destroying a burnable Hive pack spawner will now release a wave of purple flame, destroying all walls within a 7.5 meter radius. The wave can chain react, causing other spawner objects burnt to release additional waves. So basically, um, you open one, and if it's close enough to another one, it'll open that one, which will then, if it's close enough to another one, open that one. It'll just keep progressing across the map. What seems to be the case for me is there's usually 2 or 3 packs that are close enough that you trigger those 2 or 3, and everything is now open. And all the walls are gone. Generally, if you're activating these, you're wanting them to spawn, so you want the walls out of the way. So that's a good thing. But again, if you were struggling before, you have now less control over the league mechanics. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So if you were struggling, you're going to struggle a little bit more because you can't turn on one or two as easily, because if it's near another one, it's going to open maybe 5 or 6 at a time. So you lose a little bit of control, but it really helps with the flow. It does feel better to me. And any build that is blasting tier 16s is going to be fine with this change. Um, Added a variety of obstructions to the center of the hive fortress. So this I also think was a good change. It helps to funnel things down. It really helps melee. With the build I'm running, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm running um, exsanguinate mines, and that auto targets and has a decent range. Now instead of um, taking a couple of hits of damage to the main center, I don't really take any because they have to get a little bit closer before they can start doing their attacks. It definitely helps. I can see this being a lot better for melee builds. So I think that's a really good change. You can now 5-1. Something to do with all the extra wound gifts that you're getting that you're not going to open. You should be aware that if you're 5-1ing wound gifts, they will do the same as any other 5-1 recipe, and the lowest item level is the item level of the item you'll get in return. The Genesis tree will now show a confirmation prompt if pending changes. This is just kind of something that should have been there before. This is a bug they fixed and a bug they fixed. So these ones, most people probably didn't even notice. I know I didn't. So that's it for the league mechanic changes. I feel like there are some good changes here. Some of them kind of are a double-edged sword. So if you're already struggling a little bit, it made it a little bit worse for you. But as long as you're not struggling with the league mechanic already, this is going to make it move a lot faster. You're going to get more rewards from it. The league mechanic seems better. I still think some sort of customization of being able to opt out of hives spawning, or maybe just not spawning as often, or being able to make it so that you can only ever get unstable breaches, so you can kind of feel like original breaches back if you don't really care for the new version. I imagine when it goes core, that's the kind of thing you'll find on the Atlas tree, but some way to do it now would be really nice. One thing the breach changes did not address is the fact that the breach encounters are deleting some of the standard mobs that normally spawn in your maps. It's been tested by a couple of people, and it appears to be true that it is supposed to be pushing the monsters away and just moving them to other locations, but instead it's actually just deleting a bunch of monsters from your map, and that hurts a lot of farming strategies. Anything that relies on killing as many just normal monsters as possible is hurt by the fact that a lot of them are getting deleted. It doesn't hurt all farming strategies, but the ones it does hurt, it means a lot of people have moved away from farming that, and so more people are farming the other things, which is kind of bringing everything down in general. So it seems like a lot of things aren't as profitable as last league, and a lot of it is people just don't have the currency to buy the stuff at a higher value, but also more people are farming different content than they normally would have, and that is causing the prices to be a little bit different than they normally would be. That's my take of what's happening with the economy right now. So these changes are supposed to help address that. And a lot of them are changes to scarabs to kind of just make those farming strategies a little bit better. It seems like a lot of things are 30%, 50%, better. So Scarab of Divinity goes to a limit of 3 from 2. So if you have the extra spots in your map device, that's 50% better right there. But also it causes 3 rare monsters to be Pantheon touched from 2 each. So that's another 50%. So instead of only being able to have 4 monsters, because 2 monsters being Pantheon touched per, and then 2 scarabs makes it 9. So that can be a little bit better for you to farm that. So that one's really big. Titanic Scarab of Legend causes unique monsters in an area to have 4 additional monsters instead of just 2. So that is again doubled. But then the rest of these are 30 to 50% better. So All Flame Ember of Propagation is 50% better. Legion monsters gain approximately 30% higher reward for each time they're broken out. So 30% better. Abyss Scarab of Profound Depth are 30% better. Tormented Scarab of Possession goes from 3 to 4. And have a quarter chance to be possessed by up to 3 tormented spirits instead of just 1. So that one is a significant increase there. The Torment Scarab now has tormented spirits have a 50% chance to be set free when possessed instead of 25%. So this one is also a significant increase. Horn Scarab of Nemesis now can limit of 2 instead of 1. Horn Scarab of Bloodlines now also makes it so they have an additional modifier, so that's going to help with loot. And Beyond Scarab of Hemophilia grants characters that kill beyond rare monsters in area have a 30% chance to gain their modifier for 20 seconds. This one's kind of fun. It's like your Headhunter replacement, so you can still kind of have Headhunter. These Scarab changes are very targeted. There's only a few Scarab changes, and some of them are big, but most of them are like 30-50% better. So that's okay. This doesn't affect power at all. If people still have Voidborn Reliquary or all those puzzle boxes that they haven't used, they can do it on the new uniques if they want. This one, I'm not sure what this means, because stackable items will no longer be merged into existing stacks when clicking them into market stash tabs. I thought if something was stackable, it was supposed to be sold on the currency market. And if it's not stackable, it's supposed to be sold through market stash tabs. So this feels like the fix should be this, whatever item this is, I don't know what item this is, should be available to sell on the currency market. Seems weird to me. Missing, that's a bug. I don't know why that's not in the bug fixes. And then some things do less damage. All the loot stuff is right here. And it's all focused on a few scarabs. So the league mechanic has gotten better, but general juicing really didn't. And then there's a bunch of bug fixes. I don't want to go into a lot of them, except there's one that I'm really sad that they fixed that was a bug. I thought it was a feature. But apparently it was a bug, and they took it away from us. And where did it go? Yeah, fixed a bug where using currency in maps such as strong boxes and essences could use currency from your map device rucksack. I thought this was a feature. I thought it was something that was discovered, that they added to the game, and it makes a lot of sense to me. You put it in the map rucksack, and that lets you use it within the map. I was actually, chancing strong boxes, rolling strong boxes, essences, whatever, because I never remember to bring currency with me, but I can remember to put it in my map device because I won't accidentally put it back in my stash. So this was a really nice feature that apparently was a bug and has now been fixed. So I'm a little sad about that. As far as juicing goes, there's a couple more options that might be a bit better. But these aren't, from what I can tell, what people were really complaining about. And so I don't really think that these changes hit the mark for loot fixes. The loot is better for the league mechanic, but juicing seems to be kind of in the same spot for most people. So that was the big loot patch. I think it's really nice for the league mechanic. I think, some things are, again, a double-edged sword, but mostly good changes for the league mechanic that most people are going to enjoy. But everywhere else, it feels like it kind of missed the mark. I think that it was a little bit overhyped, that it was going to address a lot of the issues people were having. And while it did address some of the issues, it didn't really fix people's ability to juice the way they want. And that sounds really negative, but I do think the game's in a pretty good place. I'm enjoying the league. I'm enjoying playing the few characters I've made. And there's a lot of different build options out there, especially because of the Foulborn Uniques. Those really open things up. So I'm gonna keep playing. I'm enjoying it. Um, and hopefully they have another patch that addresses it a little bit more. What I'd like to see is a lot of the juicing mechanics that care about normal monsters in the map. Those should apply to normal monsters from the breach encounters as well. As long as that does, that kind of fixes it. It's still not a perfect fix, but it'd be better than where things are at. And it'd be probably a simple change. All that said, I'm still enjoying the league, and I'm going to keep playing. I've been playing around with trying some of the other league mechanics that don't occur within maps. So I've been doing a little bit of delve. I've been doing a little bit of heist. I do a lot of simulacrum, and all of that seems to be relatively untouched and pretty decent. Other than the fact that other people are doing it that normally wouldn't, and that's why I believe the value of some of the items you get from there has come down because there's more of it available than there normally would. But it seems fine. So I'm gonna keep playing. I do stream on Twitch most days. You're welcome to hang out and have a good one.